What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the 10th episode of Patriot Backtalk, the big 1-0. I am your humble host, Kyle Johnson. I really appreciate everybody that's been tuning in and listening to these episodes. Please spread the word, and let's continue to light a fire of unashamed patriotism in this amazing nation ruled by us, we the people. Now, first order of business on this momentous episode is to announce the winner of the Documents of Freedom book set. That includes the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution, all wrapped up in hardback bindings in a nice little case. I randomly selected one of my followers, and the winner of this giveaway is Tom and Christine Nolan. I will send you guys a message on Facebook Messenger, and we'll be getting that book set mailed out to you guys ASAP. And to all the non-winners, keep watching for more giveaways coming down the pipe. Okay, now to business. Today, we're going to look into how our current administration is working harder than ever to eliminate the middle class in America and shift us to all be on one of two levels, the wealthy elite or the poor obedient subjects. Don't believe me? Keep listening, because this is happening and has happened all over the world for centuries as a way to introduce socialist and communist ideologies into societies, and 9 times out of 10, if these evil regimes follow a set pattern of fear-mongering and lies, the people, by and large, give up their freedoms willingly. Today, we're going to look in at a very recent example of a country in our world and compare how America is being run by the Biden administration. And you'll see for yourself that the ball is already rolling towards socialism in America, and it's high time we take notice. First example we're going to look at is the country of Venezuela. There were 2 dictator figures that did most of the damage to Venezuela in the last couple decades, Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. Remember that this country held elections and was considered a democracy, but after Chavez got a hold of the country, things began to change. And you can basically break down the path to socialism in a couple of steps. Government gets a bad leader, and this can be through election campaign lies, rigged elections, a leader dying and the next in line takes its place. However it occurs, step 1 is bad guy takes over in a leadership role in a country. Now step 2 is multifaceted, but it almost always starts by the government taking control of the food source of a country. And this can be done a few different ways. In Venezuela, it was the government claiming to be seizing farmland from the quote-unquote rich farmers to give to the poor to farm and work. So they basically took the land, shut down the existing farms, and hired a bunch of new people to run the farms under the watchful, caring eyes of Big Daddy government. Because as we know, free market doesn't work. We need the government to step in and keep things running smoothly. Yeah, right. This move went exactly how you think it would. Governments aren't built to micromanage thousands of farms and businesses. They sold what food they were actually able to grow at low prices and hired more workers than they could afford to pay in order to try to keep people thinking that everything was fine. And because of that, food production plummeted by 75%, and immediately shortages ensued. This was followed by the government seizing control of other private sector businesses, and the ones they couldn't take, they forced to shut down by selling their own products at unreasonably low prices and paying their workers higher and higher wages. Now to some, this may seem awesome, but basic economics tells us there has to be balance. There has to be private sector businesses competing. There has to be limited government intervention. You see, free market works because it has its own checks and balances. Major companies are forced to keep their prices in check because if they don't, their competitors will run them out of business. And they're forced to pay competitive wages or they will lose their employees to other companies. But when you centralize everything to run through the government, everything from wages, production levels, exports, and quantity are set to whatever the government feels like they should be. And of course, they will start by promising high wages and really low costs, but open your eyes. Here's an example. Let's say it costs $10 in lumber to build a bookshelf. I get that's a joke with Biden's lumber prices now, but for the sake of round numbers, just follow me on this. It costs $10 in lumber to build a bookshelf. If I pay someone $20 to buy all the lumber and build me a bookshelf, the person I paid is happy because he made $10. But then let's say that I sell that bookshelf for $15. The person buying it is happy because that's a good deal compared to the price of lumber and other bookshelves being sold. But I've made no money. In fact, I've lost $5 on this deal. And sure, maybe I've got enough to do this a few times, but at some point, I'm going to either have to raise my prices or pay my worker less. It's not a permanent solution. This is the same situation in socialism. Governments start by making everyone happy by promising the best of both worlds, but it never lasts. It can't. So after these socialists take control of the food and private sector, they then turn their attention to the financial control of a country. And this is again shrouded in lies and deception about the government promising free money, free college, free insurance, free, and people swallow this hook, line, and sinker. Since most of them are already concerned by the shortages, economic struggles, and other things socialism causes, having free things from the government seems like a great thing. But nothing in life is truly free. And after the Venezuelan government dumped extravagant amounts of money into the social infrastructure programs with no economy or exports to pay it back, the country tumbled into chaos caused by the inflation that ensued. You see, folks, everyone, even governments, at some point have to pay the piper. And when those debts they racked up as a country came calling, the rest of the nation was already in an inflationary disaster that raised almost 700%. And everyone sunk into poverty except the few crooked elites that bought their way into the government's good graces. And that was it, folks. Eliminate the middle class, and you are left with rich people that will do anything and obey any order to stay rich, and the poor of the country that is willing to do anything and obey any order to stay fed. That's the socialism endgame. Complete and total control of every facet of life. And this is the same situation occurring right now in Sri Lanka. Government spent outside their means, defaulted on their debts, and now the country is in turmoil, starving, has overthrown their current leaders, and it's a matter of time before socialism rises and pretends to solve all their problems. Now, some of you I know were listening and already started to draw the uncomfortable comparisons between Venezuela's fall to socialism and what is occurring now here in America. It's happening. Just take an honest look at the last couple of years. Biden dumped trillions of dollars into the economy with no plan to pay it back, which was just the first step in causing inflation. On top of that, he printed too much money, canceled what would have been one of our biggest exports by shutting down oil production and the Keystone Pipeline. Fear-mongering is in the news every day, from supposedly rampant gun violence, even though the stories are always skewed to fit the pre-existing narrative that the media wants you to believe, but never posts the good stories about gun owners saving lives and protecting their families. Media lies about Trump. Media lied and continues to lie about the rigged 2020 election. The media claims Biden is a competent president, even when he can't even read the teleprompter in front of his face, and is very clearly a delusional, senile old man. Media tells you if you're white, you're racist. If you believe being gay is a sin, you're a hater. Poor decisions by the Biden admin have caused shortages in the food industry to the point that we can't get some items and raised prices on everything else we can get, till now we have the highest inflation and prices in our nation's history. The government is promising to raise taxes on the rich in an attempt to pretend they're looking out for us little guys, even though the wealthiest 1% already pay over 40% of income taxes in America, and that number has risen almost 10% over the past 15 years. It's nothing more than a talking point to further separate the rich from everybody else. The middle class is the best defense against socialism, folks. It built America and is the backbone of what has kept us going. It stretches from every state to every city, and it's what keeps our private sector of business flowing and detached from the government. It's what the left wants to do away with, because with a thriving middle class, the people have very little need for government intervention. But make everyone poor and control the entire supply chain, and we have to obey and fall in line to get the basic things that we need. Everything you're seeing in America right now is premeditated. The libs and dems aren't flying by the seat of their pants. This has been set up for decades, and piece by piece, freedom by freedom, they are whittling away our ability to be independent from government. It's high time to put a halt on their plans. One by one, we can choose to say, no. I do have the freedom of speech, and I will say what I believe, regardless if it upsets someone. No, I do have the right to bear arms, and I won't give that up, even if the media and government claims it's for our collective good. No, we do have the right to look into elections that are blatantly stolen. We do have the freedoms to run our private businesses the way we want to, COVID scare or not. We have the right to assemble as believers in Christ and speak the truth from His Bible, even if some people feel offended or convicted by it. We have the right to be vocal about abortion being murder and loudly celebrate every time a state puts more bans in place, and we don't have to be apologetic for it. And we have the right to stand up as Americans and tell the government that they need to fear us, not the other way around. Don't be complacent and sit back and soak up the freedoms of America, and then as soon as things get tough and require action, step back, throw your hands up, and claim there's nothing you can do. Step up. Don't be a coward. Because socialism is knocking at the door of America, and we are the only ones who can keep it out. Start by choosing to plan ahead for food shortages so you aren't left at the government's mercy when things get truly bad. Hold your representatives accountable. Gain knowledge of your God-given rights and freedoms so you can speak truth to your coworkers, family, church family, or anyone you come in contact with, because I'm promising you, you are not alone. There are millions of others waiting for someone like you to take a stand, and they will follow you. It only takes a small spark to start a raging fire. Be that spark. All right, I'm wrapping this episode up. Again, thank you to everyone that faithfully listens, and please share these videos on social media and with friends and family if you find them useful. It really helps the channel out to be able to reach as many people as possible. And as always, never back down or be ashamed of your patriotism. God bless y'all. We'll talk soon.